ignore them and just continue to do the dream, because no one's going to believe it because you come from poverty. So it really worked out.
Told me you weren't that athletic.
And I said, Mom, that's kind of narcissistic to write a speech. You know what that means. You want to be prepared. You want to thank people in groups. I want to tell the shortest speech in NFL history. And we kind of shaped it. 90% of my speech you hear on Saturday is from my mom.
And take us back to 1990 draft night, because you have an incredible story. You had one phone in the house.
Yes.
Your sister was on the phone. Busy.
Yeah, my sister Vicky's my sister. But she was on the phone, and I was busy with a rotary phone. And when Bob Harlan and Lee Rummel called me, I thought God was talking to me. Because at the time, I was a huge Cowboy fan. And I wanted them to draft me, but they didn't. But the Packers saved my life and my career, giving us African-American in the inner city, the projects. The entire neighborhood, Melissa, went crazy. And it's still going crazy now.
But the 49ers called and you missed it.
Yes. And they tried to call back, but I was busy, so I could have been a 49er. I mean,
well, it all worked out all right.
Yes.
All right, and the guys are going to love this, Mike and Chris. From a Hall of Fame player to a Hall of Fame chef, you have a cookbook coming out. And I said, I said, are you really a good cook? He goes, what do you think? What'd you tell me to that?
I'm an executive home chef. No grill, I'm in the kitchen. Okay, so me and my 6 daughters are working on a cookbook right now. Leroy Bowler's leaping into your kitchen again, but this time he's bringing his kids.
And as we throw it back, your best dish.
Mac and cheese, this to America. I make the best mac and cheese ever, okay? Don't even sweat it. Don't even stay out my mentions. It's all me.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it.
He's the greatest. I'm telling you, as a player, he was the greatest. Now he's the greatest. There we go, mac and cheese.
That's not it. That's not it.
That's what they paid us.
That's leftover from the booth halftime mac and cheese. That is not.
Oh my gosh, I have so many great memories of interviewing Roy Butler. And you know who loved him? Howie Long. Howie Long thought that he was one of the best pass rushers in the league. And I say, yeah, he's one of the best pass rushing guys on the outside. And I said, no. I know pass rush moves. This guy has some of the best pass rush moves in all the league. And he was always the one that told Brett Favre, and we should have asked him this thing. Brett Favre's like, Brett, I don't care if you throw an interception. We'll get the ball back. That's our job. You go out there and sling it. Well, I think Brett took it a little too seriously.
I was going to say, he found the right guy to tell that to.
Right? Around a little bit, yeah.
Kyle Sloter's pass is incomplete here on 2nd and 4. We have 3rd down. He had 38 picks and 20 and a half sacks. Just a terrific story. I love the story of when he was able to overcome. He mentioned Lee Rummel there a couple of times as a writer and then a longtime public relations person, then moved into historian status, the team historian for the Green Bay Packers. Lee passed away, but they named the press box at Lambeau after Lee Rummel. His presence in that Packer organization as a writer and then his public relations was so vital.
Roy Butler did the story.
That's right. Slaughter is sacked. Good pressure from the Raiders inside. Kendall Vickers getting in there for the second, 3rd-year man out of Tennessee. Been a Raider a couple of years now.
Yeah, the Jags can kind of get it going a little bit, and then it just sort of stops. New system, they're going to go. I can't wait to watch this team play. We're not seeing the guys who are going to make this whole thing work, right? There we go. There's Max Crosby over there celebrating with his teammate.
Speaking of can't wait to see.
Oh, yeah.
Max Crosby on one end, Cameron Jones on the other.
It's going to be insane. They've got linebackers that can fly. They've got a rock solid secondary back there now.
Trying to get over by the sideline. The guys there at the 4-yard line. So we'll have a long field for the Raiders halfway through the quarter. Oh, midseason form, Wendell Stevenson audio. That's the OJs who went to high school right here in Canton.
This season's story starts in the preseason. This is time. It all kicks off on NFL Network. With familiar faces getting fresh starts.
Feeling here in Kansas City. I'm excited to be there in Bosco.
And the next generation just starting out.
Sometimes to make happiness.
Every season is a new story. And every story starts here. It all begins next Thursday, live on NFL Network.
Hey, I've got a huge announcement. I'm returning to the game of trivia. Rival schools in the ultimate quiz show. Come, you're an avid reader. Of books?
No.
Bless your heart.
Capital One College Bowl, Fridays this fall on NBC.
I'm an emotional guy. I can't help it. And I think about the people who build relationships that are lifelong. What I've had players say to me was always more about a winner or loss. It was about how we felt as a team and an organization. I cherish that as much as I do a win.
Philadelphia was struggling. Dick Vermeil came in, got that team to the Super Bowl. The Rams were struggling 8 years out of winning season. Dick Vermeil gets there, a couple years later, Super Bowl, and they win it all. Dick Vermeil going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his induction class of 2022. The Super Bowl champ standing by with Lewis.
Mike, we know he has never shied away from showing his emotions. Coach, now you are joining this exclusive fraternity of coaches being enshrined here in Canton.
Yeah, very humbling, believe me.
How emotional
The
was
longer
it?
I've been here, just a few days, the more humble I become, and being around the guys that are true Hall of Famers, I sometimes question whether I belong standing next to them, but it's a great feeling.
You were the head coach of 3 different teams. You went in and turned organizations around. There are 10 new NFL head coaches for teams this year. I want to hear from the expert. What is the key? What did you know? How did you have that success?
Well, I think it's a lot more difficult today because they don't get as much time to work with kids individually and collectively on the fundamental side of the game and everything else. Practice is shorter, training camp shorter, contact work is shorter, and I think it makes it a little tougher for the younger coaches to come in and develop their own what they call culture, and to synchronize the picking of a building. It's tougher today. I really think it is tougher. In the old days, if we weren't good enough, we could stay on the field and work long enough to get better. There's no correlation between working less and getting better. Never has been, never will be. But today, it's tougher on those new coaches.
And your Super Bowl winning quarterback, Kurt Warner, told me that you said to him you saw some of yourself in him, that underdog mentality. What is it about you that you connect with that underdog?
Well, I came out of high school coaching and then junior college coaching and college coaching. I wasn't an all-pro that got a coaching job or was on a great staff and elevated to a coaching position. I sort of just took the opportunities as they were presented to me. Fortunately, a lot of people helped me, and I, free agents the same way. They show up and they do the best they can, and all of a sudden they're playing well. Like London Fletcher, everyone talks about Kurt Warner. London Fletcher played 16 years, came in, as a rookie free agent with Kurt Warner. There are people out like that. A coach's job is to try to find as many of those guys as you can.
Well, and you did that, and you ended up in not 1 but 2 movies that were portrayed. Okay, we need to talk about this because we have Greg Kinnear played you in Invincible, and then Dennis Quaid in American Underdog. Who did it better?
Well, I like the fact that Dennis Quaid actually used some of my conversation with Kurt, word for word. It added credibility to the movie. But both movies were very, very entertaining. Both movies were good for young people to see because they are, not all the facts in the movies were true, but the stories are true. And what they did was great. And it's great to look up to people that do wonderful things.
Not many people can say they were portrayed in 2 movies. Congratulations, and you get to star on your own as yourself on Saturday night in your
Well, thank you. I'm going to have a tough time with it, believe me.
Oh, we know, but it's great. It's great.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And a lot of folks look up to him, too.
No better guy in the history of the league. No better guy than that guy. But, all right, he's a nice guy, and we're going to start with that. He killed people in practice. They practiced harder when he got to a new team than anybody maybe in the history of the league. 3.5-hour practices were not unheard of with him, and it was always the third year that was the charm.
Yep.
The third year he was taking teams to the Super Bowl, but he's a sweetheart of a guy, but he was a grinder, and I think it took its toll on him personally too. You know, he retired after a fairly short stint there initially. Another 12, 13 years later, he comes back and takes the Rams on to the World Championship.
He was away for a while. Had a terrific broadcasting career going. Jumps back in, does that. Makai Sargent with the run there for the first down here. The Raiders went 3 and out. Under 5 minutes left here in this third quarter. Jags trying to get on the board. This is what you're talking about, Chris. Eagles that third season, get the winning season. Rams that memorable Super Bowl against Tennessee. And then the Chiefs got them there to the postseason after their long drought. No coincidence.
No, and maybe the most remarkable story, and we talk about Kurt Warner all the time, but I remember thinking about it from Dick Vermeil's standpoint. Frank Green goes down, he doesn't have a quarterback. You know, Kurt Warner came out of the grocery store. We all know the story at this point, right? And he believed, and he went to Kurt Warner, and you know, I mean, you look him in the eye, and you know he's a salesman, right? And he convinced Kurt Warner, and Kurt Warner convinced him that this was going to work. And the hug that those guys had when Kurt was telling them that you're in the Hall of Fame matched the one they had on the field when they won the Super Bowl together. It's what the Hall of Fame weekend is all about. Those special relationships and special moments.
Sargent, the second year back out of Iowa, is run hard here. In the second half, he gets a first down. Vermeil was, of course, the coach in Philadelphia. Doug Peterson was the coach in Philadelphia before coming here to Jacksonville. And how do you get that culture that Vermeil was talking about restarted? You talked about it earlier, Chris, developing the trust in the head coaching position that these Jaguar players needed, and bringing in players. And boy, they have brought in a lot of folks this year. Many of whom we're not seeing tonight. But Jacksonville spent as much as any team in an offseason
Sure did.
to try to turn his baby around.
And I'm telling you, we haven't seen any of them. You know, when you turn on the television on opening day and you see Christian Kirk, who is going to be the deep threat they didn't have a season ago, you see Evan Ingram and an athletic tight end.
Personal foul, chop block, number 77, offense, 15-yard penalty.
Well, here it is, Chris. The record amount they spent to the plays to the stadium named after a bank, dipped into the reserves. Christian Kirk, Brandon Sheriff, the guard from Washington, Zane Jones, Raider fans know him, 3 years, $24 million. Olugin, the outstanding tackling machine in Atlanta. Darius Williams in the corner. Tonikasi, who was in the inside for the Jets. $175 billion guaranteed. That's an NFL record for a single offseason. Sometimes you can spend and it doesn't work, but you can also spend when you have young stars on the rookie contracts, especially the quarterback, your Trevor Lawrence.
Well, Trevor Lawrence is the key. Doesn't matter what all that other stuff is. Trevor Lawrence has to be what everybody thought he was, which is a generational quarterback. You know, he has to be the Peyton Manning, the Tom Brady, and if he is, he has enough pieces around him. And we saw what
There you go.
you get those guys on that rookie contract. There is a window and opportunity for a great young quarterback because they allow him to spend all that dough because they have a quarterback on a rookie contract. It's going to give this franchise a chance to get good in a hurry. Now, admittedly, it hasn't been sharp out here tonight, but it hasn't been with the guys who are going to be playing on the
He's a guy who really enjoys it.
Second and 20. Rose out of the hands of Jeff Cotton Jr., the first-year player out of Idaho. So you talk about that year 2 jump.
And he has the offensive mentality. He's not back there just trying to stop you.
And Trevor last year, all similar, not great season. Here's the year 2 turnaround for Peyton. Burrow, we know to the Super Bowl. What's it going to be for Trevor? What was your impression when you talked to Trevor?
They got to get it all the way down to the 13-yard line to move to 6 here. We haven't seen any scoring here in this third quarter. Still 20-0. The Raiders on top here in this Canton, Ohio. Ohio Florida quarterback. Played the USFL not all that long ago.
It's just the fact that they really didn't have that weapon, and now we've got another injury down here. We'll cover some more of that in a minute.
Yeah, it's Kendall Vickers. I think he got hit by his own player. They were coming in
collision on the field.
Running back Mekhi Sargent, 2:28 left here in his third quarter. That's the safety coming in. We've got his own teammate Vickers, who's being looked at.
We used to tell everyone that we just switched to Verizon's new